Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Our Talks with Anthony Tag. We're going to have insightful conversation. For those that are new to the channel, we make mental health conversations and content that's going to be beneficial to your personal development and induce your well-being. However, in today's conversation, I'm going to be talking about how to set boundaries, right, with love, protecting your mental health without guilt, right? So I want to empower people to set healthy, respectful boundaries in personal and professional relationships without guilt, shutting down, or shame, so that you can protect your peace and nurture these connections, right? So in our introduction, we're going to just dive right into it is, you can love people and still say what? No, right? So setting boundaries isn't pushing people away. It's letting them know that you love you better, right? So you're putting yourself first, making yourself priority, and setting that line. You know what I mean? You're doing what you got to do. You're pushing back. You're doing what you got, whatever it's needed, it's necessary, because you need to be able to maintain your well-being. However, in our first key point, we're going to be talking about boundaries are acts of self-respect, not rejection. Without them, resentment, burnout, and emotional disconnection builds. So love and limits can coexist, right? So we can put them together and we can make these things happen, right? So research insight provides us that people with clear boundaries report higher self-esteem, better emotional health, and stronger, more authentic relationships, right? So we can make this happen. We can have strong relationships. We can, do what we have to do, but still feel authentic and, when we are setting these clear boundaries. Moving forward, we're going to be talking about what boundaries actually are, right, and aren't. So our key point number one, we're going to be saying boundaries define where you end and someone else begins, right? What's happening with your do's and don'ts, and we're also taking into consideration how you're allowing someone to treat you, right? So you're calling the shots, you know what I mean? Setting the boundary. So that's just important. But like I said, we got to be keep in mind we got to do this in a healthy and a respectful way, because if you want that respect back, you want someone to be treating you healthy back. We got to be able to keep this in mind and being more empathetic, right? So they are not walls, they are bridges built with clarity when you're able to provide boundaries. Clear at that. Next is types include emotional, physical, time, energetic, and digital, right? So there's different types of, boundaries. In regards to research insights, healthy boundaries reduce codependency and increase personal agency and psychological well-being, right? So, healthy boundaries, when we do it in appropriate ways, and like I said, you properly are telling some of your do's and don'ts in a respectful way, this can increase you to be, more stronger on your own, in addition to a better, mental health. So I want us to take that in consideration. Moving forward in our next segment, we're going to talk about why boundaries feel so hard, especially for empaths, right? So people that always, it's hard for them to say no, and people pleasers, right? So people that just, always like to put people first before they put themselves first, right? So, and this was myself. I gotta put my hands up, right? Mama, you feel me? Like I'm always that individual to, whatever mama says or wants needs, I'm always, like that's just how it is. And I think that's also the culture of a lot of men in society, in addition to, maybe even being the only boy, right? So I want us to take that into consideration. Just the way that we were raised, society tells us be a gentleman, hold the door, like that's fine. Be a good person, and energy and that good positivity will come back to you. Don't get it twisted. But at the same time too, it can feel hard. And I think that boundaries are important because this takes a toll on a lot of our mental health. So I really want us to have that good peace of mind, set these, these love and boundaries. And I know it's tough, but let's dive into it because we're going to navigate through this, right? So key point number one is fear of conflict, rejection, or even, being looked upon as selfish, right? When people say that you're setting boundaries. Many of us weren't taught emotional boundaries growing up, so it can be really difficult, right? And guilt is a signal of growth, not wrongdoing. So I want us to take that in consideration too, is that sometimes when we're feeling, the backlash or these weird emotions that are coming back when we said no, we have to be able to recognize what research insights is going to tell us is that internalized beliefs, especially from childhood or social conditioning, can lead to difficult asserting needs or recognizing emotional limits. So, we have to recognize that some of the things that we internalize in our, our childhood and social conditioning takes a toll on the way that we're able to make our decision making and how we're able to, vocalize how we feel, right? Because once upon a time, it was looked upon as selfish, or someone was telling you be quiet or shut up or sit down, do this or do that. You know what I mean? So now that you're growing and you have this awareness, I want you to be able to be more assertive with it, right? So making the right choices and decisions and really expressing how you feel. I'm gonna give you signs on that. Like, I want you to express how you feel. Let people know how you feel. I want you to advocate for yourself, right? Stop allowing people in these systems and these people, around you to control, how you feel. You're a human being. You're not a robot, right? So let's move forward in regards to our next segment. How to set boundaries with love and clarity. It's very important to, like I said, have love and clarity on this, because we really want to be able to maintain our professional relationships and our personal relationships. So we're going to keep that in mind, right? So number one is get clear on what you need, right? So check in with your body and your emotions, right? What drains or energizes you? What's really going on? Be intuitive with that. Number two is communicate directly, calmly, and kindly, right? So use I statements. I need time to recharge after work. Let's talk after dinner, right? So you want to find time to really separate yourself where you need that space, where you're able to get that peace of mind and regain that. So communicate their needs, right? In a respectful way. Number three is be consistent with follow through, right? So whatever you say, whatever boundary that you're setting, boundaries without action are just wishful thinking. So, right? So respect your own line first. So whatever you're saying is coming out your mouth, stand on your word, right? You know what I mean? Like I said, you got to treat people how you want them to treat you, right? And keep in mind, treat people how you want to be treated, right? Talk to people with respect. But if you say something, we're expecting you to stand on it, integrity, right? So if you say that you don't want to link up with someone this weekend, and then 2 hours later, then you're still linking up with them. They're not going to know how to take your words serious. So I want you to take that into consideration. Stand on what your boundaries are. Four is expect discomfort. It's part of the rewiring old patterns, right? So some people may test your limits, right? That's just what it is. Some people don't know how to take things seriously, or may have difficulty with the no. However, that doesn't mean your boundaries are wrong, right? So you really want to reiterate that again, or distance yourself a little bit more. But like I said, expect discomfort. Like, it may not be as sweet in interactions with everybody. So I really want us to take that in consideration. And then jumping right into the recent insights, assertive communication, it improves relational satisfaction and reduces interpersonal stress. So like I said, this is going to really be able to help you out in different relationships and in interactions that you're having with people. And when we're really thinking about what boundary we're setting, and we're being clear about it, right? We're following through, right? And we're, expecting that not everybody's going to be able to respect our boundaries, but we know how to maneuver. We're getting more, clarity in regards to how do we go with the love with these boundaries as well. Next segment, we'll be talking about scripts for loving boundaries, right? So this is real life examples, right? So I want to be able to provide. So key point number one we're going to be talking about is I love spending time with you. I also need alone time to recharge, right? So for our loved ones out there, for people that are in relationships or siblings, stuff like that too, or friends or whoever that may be for you, we got to be able to take that in consideration. Next is I'm not available to talk about this right now. Can we talk about it later, right? So whether this is a work, anybody, right? So if the shoe fits, you gotta be able to, like I said, communicate your needs, really be assertive, really be direct, really be respectful. Another one is I want to be there for you, but I'm not in the right headspace to listen fully today, right? So if someone that's venting, they're pouring a lot. This is something that's looked upon as transference, when someone is projecting their thoughts onto someone else, right? So even as a therapist, when a client is, giving us information, it's very important for us to, even as therapists, make sure that we're taking care of ourselves and have a good self-care regimen, because that stresses that someone else is projecting on us, we're navigating through for them, we're processing it for them, right? So it's very important for us to have that awareness. But for you, on just the average individual, do what you can handle. If today's not the day that you can really intervene with all this energy and all this information, you know what I mean? Set the boundary. I don't have it today. You know what I mean? Let the person know. Speak your mind, right? Next is going to be, it's important to me that we speak respectfully, right? Can we try this conversation again? Right, so let someone know that this is not the way we're gonna talk. You setting the boundary, you setting the expectation, and you letting them what's popping, right? So boundaries that honor both your needs in that relationship, foster mutual respect and emotional safety, right? So like I said, you're able to do this in a respectful way when you're honoring them, and you're also too being authentic and you're expressing your needs. So I want us to take that in consideration. Next segment, we're going to be diving right into, when boundaries are met with pushback. So like I said, for those out here that, you may encounter someone that's just not listening, or with the boundaries not respecting it, we're going to get into it, right? So key point number one is people benefiting from you, from lack of the boundaries may make them resist, right? So when people are always, trying to use you or manipulate you, whatever, these may be the ones that are trying to, give you that pushback. So I want you to have, a little bit of awareness. Next is their reaction is not your responsibility. Your clarity is, right? So you got to make sure that your mental health is put first. You are a priority. You're a human being. You got to be able to, see things through. And it's your responsibility to make sure that you have that clarity to be able to navigate through, and not a responsibility to be able to take on other people's reactions or their emotions, right? It's important for you to stay firm and not be too forceful, but give yourself that distance that is needed to maintain those boundaries. So, according to research insights, maintaining boundaries despite resistance strengthens self-trust and reduces chronic stress. So when we're expressing our needs respectful, we're being assertive, we're being authentic, this is really going to be able to help us reduce those feelings of anxiety, depression, and that chronic mental stress. So just wrapping things up, I really want us to put that mental health first, right? Express our boundaries in a loving way, right? And really be, like I said, assertive, and really just, navigate as we talked about these things today, right? It's not selfish for you to be, setting those boundaries. Protecting your peace is essential. You're wise, you're smart, you are loving, and when you're doing this will help you to gain a better process of yourself. And in regards to exploring boundaries, saying no is a good thing, and by doing this, you're going to be able to have that better self-care in addition to that mental health for your personal development. Thank you for thriving me. Thank you for sticking through. See you on the next one. Take it easy.